Welcome everybody to another RWD gaming video. This is the premiere of the RWD campaign series. We are going to be playing a lightly modified version of the Wizards of the Coast module, Waterdeep Dragon Heist. This is the Uradissian Dragon Heist. I am joined by awesome players that were hand-selected for their interest in this game. One of this shortly. So we're going to go ahead and pass it around and kick us off. Phillip, what you got going on?
Hey guys, my name's Phillip, and I will be playing a halfling rogue named Finland Copperbottom. He is a jeweler.
All right, next up is Jose. Yeah, Jose, you got no sound right now, bro. So we're going to go ahead and jump over to Jason.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Smith. I have a YouTube channel called Smith's Forge Gaming, where I put up live plays of some of my games. Not a whole lot going over there, but coming up, I will be playing a human fighter named Hugh, who is a kind of a bitter old mercenary veteran, and we'll see what happens. Glad to be here.
Jason, don't let me forget to tag you in the little doobly-doo at the bottom there. I didn't know you had a YouTube channel, so I'll do that. Let's go back over to Jose.
Yeah, sorry about that. My name is Jose, and today I'm playing the human wizard Romero, also known as Rome.
Hell yeah. And last but certainly not least, Chris.
What's up, guys? I'm Chris. I have the YouTube channel, the RPGinger. You can check out a lot of the Wizards of the Coast modules I'm running there. I'm actually even doing a West Coast or West Marches style of campaign with March of Annihilation right now. Have a pretty decent sized Facebook community of players in that. And I will be playing the Azamar Tarragon Aldante. And he is going to be heading to Waterdeep, or whatever the city will be called in this campaign, with the dreams of becoming the next best chef in Waterdeep.
And a noble effort that will be indeed. So, like I have said and mentioned to you guys a few times, this is a kind of tailored to my homebrew setting of Uradiss. So this will be the Uradissian Dragon Heist. In terms of an analog, this setting kind of takes place in a post-World War II fantasy. So there will be kind of the intermingling of technology and magic, as it were, to work together, sometimes against each other, in this more modern-esque fantasy realm. For the most part, every fantasy race exists in some way. Some more specific than others, but those are more subtypes, and I don't think we get into them with anybody here. So for the most part, the gods are real. They have been real and recognized for a while. The ripples from these gods interacting on our realm and the cast-off magic that they produce, especially in the past, has created the essence of magic and the powerful creatures that you would witness in everyday life. So things like, griffins and basilisks and various monsters, they are kind of the experimentation with magical radiation, if you will, by these deity-esque creatures. And these would include dragons, giants, elementals, angels, and demons. None of them are integrally good or integrally bad, but the perspective in which one is viewing it kind of determines how they are looked at. So even the evil, what you would consider evil characters, can be right in their own mind. There's kind of a moral gray there. The story will be taking place in Eastport, the easternmost city in the country of Uradiss. easternmost port city in Uradiss. It comes in off a freshwater chain of lakes, comes off the ocean. This is kind of like a halfway point for the Free States as a whole, the Free States being like a democratic, almost republic-ish kind of, it's more republic, I guess, conglomeration of countries working together for the benefit of the whole, with some chaotic and various government bodies outside of that. So Eastport is kind of a port metropolis where manufacturing and industrial work coming off of the East Port, if you will, produces a lot of labor, which in turn increases the population, which in turn increases the amount of crime. And that's where our story takes place. The last open lord of Eastport had absconded with 500 million dragons from the banking system of the Free States. 500 million is a lot of gold. You can do a lot with 500 million, and one person having 500 million gold to do with as they please is kind of a big deal. Dagalt Neverember was his name, and he made off with his 500 million before being impeached from his position and replaced. And as to where the location of this gold stash is yet to be discovered. With this knowledge of the practical lottery being somewhere in the city, criminal activity has been buzzing with escalating violence between groups and turf. There are more thefts, murders, arsons, various, if not all, crimes being committed just because the policing body has bigger concerns to deal with. Escorts for this Dagalt Neverember, for he's on trial. Various political corruptions and other political leaders trying to vie for control in the city. So, with that, I'm going to throw it over to you. Go ahead, Chris, and tell us about Tarragon.
Oh boy. So we're still fairly in the early phases of this, but Tarragon, he is a younger boy, kind of in his early 20s. I guess a young man would be the correct term. He is always seen with a smiling face and a cook's apron and a pretty dorky chef's hat. He has this long kind of wavy brown hair. And you always see around his belt, he has different cook's utensils like ladles, tongs, and his trusty chef's knife. And he actually comes from a city by the name of Albasta. And this is like not so much a city as it is a small, tiny, like off the map fishing village. And it's never really been known for being rich. It's actually probably one of the poorer places in the world, but there is a devout following of the goddess of happiness and joy, Liara. And Tarragon's family is one of the most devout families there are. And for 15 generations, they've been worshiping Liara with everything they have. And no matter how poor or unfortunate their family was, they never wavered in their happiness and joy and the festivals they threw in Liara's honor. So on the 15th generation, Tarragon's generation, Liara gifted them, so it is said, with a son of celestial blood. And that is kind of Tarragon. He is an Aasimar now. He is touched by the Celestials and has that Aasimar feature to him. He looks human in nature until he takes on this other form. And they sent him to Eastport, correct? Is what the city's name is?
Correct.
And basically on a pilgrimage for thanking Liara, he was supposed to go out and basically deal with those who would not bring happiness and joy to the world. But Tarragon has always had his head in the clouds, and the way that he loves to bring joy and happiness to people is through the palate, through cooking. It's one of his greatest passions, and he believes that Liara, being a goddess of passion, is more than okay with that. his family doesn't necessarily agree and thinks that he should become some kind of champion and defender of justice or joy. But Tarragon maybe has other plans. He's a little bit of a daydreamer.
A champion of joyous palates. So this pilgrimage, or no, not the pilgrimage. How do you feel about the escalating violence between the rival gangs that you've come to know as the All-Seers and the Silenced? This would have affected you because, I mean, you don't necessarily have the credibility to throw yourself into maybe all of the high-end, diners and or restaurants in Eastport, so you had to work your way up. And with that, you meet some gritty people. So these gangs, whether you serve them or are just aware of them, how does Tarragon feel about that?
So he was always brought up to see the best and brightest in every possibility that he could, but his family always warned him with the journey that he's been prepped for, this quest for happiness and joy, that there are people in the world who do not share these values and are actually the exact opposite of that. People who would go out of their way to bring misfortune and tyranny to people's lives. And although Tarragon never really he's kind of naive in his young adult nature. He doesn't really see that people could actually be truly evil in nature, but he is aware of it. And these gangs, if he has come across them, he probably feels more pity for them than anything, because someone that obviously goes out of their way to make somebody else unhappy has probably never experienced happiness in their life. Is something that he would probably believe in.
Oh, that's actually pretty intense. With that being said, why might they have an issue with you?
He'd probably be shocked in nature to realize that anybody has an issue with him. All he does is just cook delicious food, or to the best of his ability. I imagine if there was a way that he crossed somebody, it would have been perhaps something like trivial, something that would normally not be an issue to any other person, like maybe buying some kind of rare fish or something like that right from underneath the noses of one of the gang members who really gang member leaders who wanted to eat it, and kind of oblivious to the situation. Maybe he just cut in front of line or something. I don't imagine that the gangs are truly have a hate for him unless you see otherwise.
Fair enough. So, the bigger question here, what would you do with 500 million gold pieces?
Well, he'd probably go back home to Alabasta and open up one of the greatest fishing restaurants to ever be known around the world. He would serve the freshest of tuna and other delicacies, and finally put Alabasta on the map for the great city that he knows it could be.
We will go back around to do the NPC and PC stuff once Connor gets here.
Cool.
So, finally, what are you drinking?
What am I drinking? Probably a nice full-bodied red wine, a couple decades old, something that matches well with the roast beef that he's currently eating.
Perfect. And eating and drinking you are. So with that, we're going to hop over to Hugh. Hugh, you are seated at the same table. But you've thought about a little bit more than what you're eating here before sitting down. How's your family life back home? Back on the farm? Or how's your family, not your family life?
His family, Hugh's family, and his homeland, he hasn't really given two thoughts about. The farming life in the southern lands just was a nightmare for him. And on the sorry about that.
No worries, man.
The on the eve of an arranged wedding with another family's daughter, he fled and hasn't looked back since, and has lived life according to his rules ever since. Doesn't give any thought to his previous life.
Hugh seems like a man that values freedom.
Oh, fiercely. Not only his own, but you know, people in general, like of liberty, kind of runs through his veins.
It's a hard trait to find these days. Going from a trader to a mercenary is or not a trader, a farmer to a mercenary is a pretty big step. How'd that come across?
Well, more misfortune than anything else. He found his way to Eastport, working his odd jobs, barely enough to eat on a consistent basis. But when he arrived here, he found along the docks. I'm sorry, I'm getting lots of feedback.
Is that for me? I'm sorry.
He found lots along the docks as a porter, moving freight to and from shipping lines, and then more permanent work within one of the merchant guilds within the city, where he found himself working along the caravan lines going to and from various ports. And it was there that he learned he could lead handily if given the opportunity. One of these was set up upon by bandits, and the weapon of a fallen guard, and proved himself pretty handy with it.
Excellent. So this group you were with, the Crimson Wing, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, the mercenary group that a drunken Hugh in an unknown inn had challenged one of their members to a drunken arm wrestling contest, and his bravado and raw strength kind of impressed the captain, and he offered Hugh a place among the wings, which he served for a few years, going on all kinds of
not to be mistaken with the Red Wings, though.
Oh, of course not.
I mean, it seems that to our records have solved quite a few disputes with this mercenary group. That to be believed.
Yeah, the wings were hired by minor nobles, merchant houses, and various other well-to-do individuals or groups of people. And more than once, he was within the units, settled disputes on this land dispute or that trade route, and splits to keep the greater peace.
To which this did not last. Am I correct?
Unfortunately, no. In this line of work, it can get kind of competitive with more successful units, and that was the fate of the wings. They were set up by who Hugh doesn't have any idea, but he has a fair wager that some of the dark he's seen serving in other units might have something to do with it. And they walked right into an ambush of Bugbear, and Hugh barely escaped with his life and his vision. He was set a club pretty hard along the left side of his face, leaving a nasty little scar right above, leading to the side of his ear. He has no idea if any unit survived, but he laid low for a little while and off in that position now, just now working his way back into Eastport to decipher who exactly wanted them dead and exact his revenge.
A noble vengeance, if any. So, a bigger question for you as well. What would you do with the 500 million gold pieces?
That's he would probably find a nice plot of land and set himself up as a new minor noble and set up a keep there, and more than likely raise a fighting force that would make a name for themselves across the lands.
And like I said, we'll do NPCs and PC connections once Connor gets here. So to wrap this up, what are you drinking?
The important question is, what season is this?
Well, about the same time that you crawled out of the woods, the last snows of winter were melting, so you're about to see the flourishing green buds of trees and bushes and flowers as we enter spring.
Well, if that's the case, Hugh will have a tankard of mead sitting in front of him with a nice roast lamb leg.
Excellent. Rome, you're taking up that third seat.
Oh man.
Rome, just go ahead and describe what you look like.
Let's see. He probably looks like a scholar, but he would have like, instead of like really fancy like robes, his robes would be all like patched up, kind of like a professor's robe. And he would have this little like tiny fine mustache, brown hair, light brown skin, and he's really tall and slinky.
How did Rome come to figure out that he had a talent for the arcane?
Well, growing up, imagine he grew up in a farm also where, his parents didn't have a lot of money. And he woke up one day and he started seeing things like if he looked in a book, he would be able to see like magical words would glow. And once he noticed something was going on, he told his parents, who eventually were really happy to find out that, their son had magical talents. And eventually he ended up, going to Neverwinter to go to the academy.
So the Neverwinter equivalent is called Vorn. It has the illustrious Mage Military Academy, to which you attended, excelled, but also ultimately left. Why is that? Left and went to Eastport, rather. Why is that?
Well, once he ended up getting into like the top classes, they ended up he was a prodigy, so he ended up being moved to like a class of like high, wizards and witches, and he ended up being disgusted seeing some of the things that we're doing, like they were grabbing beggars and pretty much doing magical experiments on them. And if somebody died, they would just raise him back from the dead and keep continuing what they were, what they were trying to experiment, and then dispose them like they were nothing.
So Baron Thrax, he tells you to go to Eastport. What's your goal when you get there?
Well, his goal is to pretty much eventually gather enough coin to make a place where people who are less fortunate can come together and have a better, brighter future. That a place where he can make like a haven where people don't have to deal with inhumane things that are going on in this world.
Safe to say that's what you would do with 500 million gold pieces?
Absolutely.
Then finally, what you drinking?
He probably would be sitting in the table drinking like the cheapest dwarven ale that he could find, but what he'd probably do is he would cast precipitation on it to make it taste like the sweetest wine. Because he figures, hey, as long as it tastes good to me, it doesn't matter.
Fair enough. Finland, cowering in the shadows of your friends, if you could call them that. What's brought you here?
Yes, well, Finland Copperbottom here, and I am recently looking for work due to my master's death. Perhaps you've heard of him, Kiernan Goldsmith? Ah, yes, he was the finest jeweler in all of Eastport, and I had the pleasure of being his apprentice. Until, of course, he died. We believe that it was due to an overflow of the kerfuffle between these two warring gangs.
The All-Seers and the Silence. And that it probably was. Either way, you conveniently had stepped out when this attempt on his life had gone down.
Yes, I was shopping for the groceries for my master, as I typically did, and I came back to find the place ransacked and burned, all of the jewelry stolen. The only thing left is his knowledge transferred to me, which I suppose now makes me the finest jeweler in all of Eastport.
I don't want to get too big for your britches. I mean, that does kind of make it seem like you conveniently were in the right place or the wrong place at the right time. What happened?
My world was in upheaval from my master's death. Surely the fine investigators who deemed this an act of gang violence know better than all of us what happened to him.
So, what do you plan to do now that you're left halfway through an apprenticeship with no real completed experience? What about your family?
Well, I would say half an apprenticeship under Kiernan Goldsmith is better than 2 apprenticeships under any other jeweler. So, as far as I'm concerned, I am perfectly capable of trying to start my own jewelry business now. I just need to get the funds to open up a shop. I surely cannot ask my parents. They cannot know that I'm in dire straits.
So if you happened upon 500 million gold, what would you do with it?
Well, finally open my shop and prove to everyone, especially Annabelle, that I can be a successful jeweler and win her over.
Yeah, Miss Annabelle, she is a pretty penny.
Of course, any lady with class is a pretty penny. but Annabelle is the crown jewel.
And with that, that kind of wraps up your questionnaires. I was hoping Connor would hop in before we got through with that, but alas, we're going to go ahead and go to PC connections. We're going to leave your NPCs for either you or me to involve whenever they're kind of necessary. So PC connections. This is just something I would prefer if you guys knew of each other at the very least. It doesn't have to be anybody. So whomever would like to kick us off with that. How do you know somebody in the group? And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
If no one wants to jump up first, I would think by the sound of Finland's seemingly at first impressions ability to align himself with people that could maybe, I don't want to say take advantage, but better his own position, that maybe you've met Tarragon before, and he's a bright-eyed, very new to Eastport, probably like a couple of weeks, and seems like a competent enough individual that maybe that we've kind of like kicked it off, and you're like filling my mind with the fact that like that you know the city really well, and that if I want a nice cook's position, that it'll probably be something modest, but you probably maybe have your connections or something, and you can get me like a dishwasher position. And
Of course, Tarragon. I mean, us Lightfoot halflings are known for our intricate palate. I can get you a job in the finest of restaurants.
Absolutely. And I'm a pretty good cook myself, so maybe the fact that you keep a full belly is all that more reason to keep me around. I'm always down to try new recipes and stuff.
Yes, our time together, I'm sure, is mutually beneficial.
Yes, absolutely. You seem like a great halfling. Very wise, too.
Ah, wise beyond my years.
And modest too. Well,
That is my third best trait.
I am also modest. So before we get too far into PC connections, Connor is here now. So welcome, Connor. Let me pull up your questionnaire. So the fifth member of the party, who maybe was in the bathroom, as you look upon a humanoid that looks similar to Drake, if you will, in appearance. This questionnaire process, these questions you've been asked, they've all kind of been in response to a red dragonborn, slender, but I mean not to the point where he would be feeble by any means. He is dressed nicely in white collar attire, business coat. Doesn't necessarily fit in the yawning portal where you guys are all drinking right now. He's got spectacles on the end of his snout that kind of soot up as he speaks. He kind of constantly is wiping them on a cloth. He is a member of the IPM, the Institute of Proper Magic. They are a group that kind of, in real world analog, they are like the FBI, monitoring the world's magic use, making sure it doesn't get out of hand. In a Faerun sense, they're similar to the Harpers, less secretive, but still kind of just as regimented.
What was that name again?
The IPM, the Institute of Proper Magic. Basically, you can't have some random ass farmer getting a hold of a wand of fireball. Doesn't usually work out.
He just pointed at places and then he'd become a terrorist.
Exactly. We do not negotiate with terrorists. So he kind of looks up to you, Drake, sees you sit down, coming from the back bathroom, noticing the trail of toilet paper on your heel. Ah, yeah, Drake. So I have reason to believe that you weren't born this way. You didn't always look like, have notions to himself, Dragonborn.
That's correct. I've been like this for most of my life, but not naturally.
I see. I'm sure being trans species, I guess is the word I'm looking for. How has that affected you growing up and just being involved in society?
Not really a lot of my younger colleagues wanted to be a part of whatever I was dealing with. I was growing quicker than them and just being stronger than them for quite a while until they reached their maturity.
So this was an illness. And at one point, it seemed like you were taking a turn for the worst. Who saved you?
Well, I don't know their name, but they told me to call them the apothecary. They've been a good friend to me since.
The apothecary. A good friend to you he has been. Through him, you've been able to maintain a supply of herbal remedy that has been able to keep your illness at bay. But people might not recognize you for who you once were. Who is that?
Well, I was the son of a noble family, but since becoming like I am, they haven't recognized me as an heir to anything.
It's gotta hurt. What's your goal? What are you hoping to accomplish?
I'm hoping to establish my own noble house, or at the very least become rich enough that the nobles have to acknowledge my existence.
So is that what you would do with 500 million gold pieces?
It is.
I guess I'll finish with you the way I finished with everyone else. What are you drinking?
I'm taking the strongest stuff that they've got.
That is a fisherman, not a fisherman, a sailor's grog. Virulent shit. It'll warm you on the coldest nights, but rots the gut fairly quickly. So let's hop back over to PC connections. So we've established that Tarragon and Finland both have similar tastes and connections and influence.
If I could, maybe,
Yeah.
and Phillip is down with it, perhaps the reason why one of these gangs is actually upset with me is through you in some way. Like you maybe got yourself into a little bit of trouble, but just somehow I was there at the time, didn't know anyone, bumped into you, and you like made like my friend, but incidentally blamed some kind of fiasco on me.
You're just guilty by association.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I definitely think there's reason for maybe both of these gangs to be a little upset with me. Maybe not. But I like that idea.
Cool. So we'll maybe flesh it out later, but we'll say that for some reason I'm in trouble because of your past dealings with the gangs.
Exactly.
Rome, any PC connections in mind?
Well, I was thinking with Huge, he would be connected to, because when he came to Waterdeep, he had no money, no job or anything, so he was doing mercenary work to pretty much to get some coin and to scope the city out. Oh, Eastport, yeah, Eastport. So they would know each other. They're probably done jobs with each other.
Coworkers. I dig it. Hugh, any PC connections in mind, or is that the one you got?
Yeah, that feeds into half of mine. Hugh has known Rome now, appreciating some of the more practical side of that a magic user can bring to the table. He's helped Hugh out on one or two little minor jobs. And they've earned a couple of coin together. So we're familiar with each other and know loosely Finland, as he has helped me fence a few things that I've come across my work. Yeah, he's helped me out there. I don't know him on any kind of friendly term, but we have a business relationship.
And in both regards, someone who has strengths outside of your own is definitely a beneficial ally, it has seemed to prove to you. Rome, you said you had something else?
Yeah, and I had also added Drake. Rome heard rumors that the guards in Eastport were having problems with a lizard creature down in the sewers. So he ended up taking a look at this and ended up finding Drake, who was just hiding there. He pretty much had like a hideout in there, not like deep in the sewers where there's shit everywhere, but you know.
A makeshift keep. Am I right, Drake?
Yeah.
Do you have any PC connections in mind?
Well, one is that one night before he had met the apothecary and his transformation had taken control, he had destroyed Hugh's father's cart in one of his rampages. And then for the other one, I had it that he sampled some of Tarragon's cooking one night after he had arrived and gave a shining review of it to the nobles that he knew, which are basically his family.
Connections seem to be everywhere. Does anybody else have any last minute PC connections before we're actually going to take a quick 5-minute break and then hop into the session 1. Everybody good? Any questions for this? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I'm good on questions. I think I'm ready to rock whenever everyone else is.
The last, I guess, token of business here is obviously this is a city which, if you've read any of the Waterdeep module, takes huge pride in the diversity and variety of cultures here. So if there's at any time you feel like setting-wise there's anything you'd like to add, I will allow the use of a inspiration point to do so. I like to play inspiration similar to Jeremy Lilly, where they stack and get a little bit more variety of uses outside of just advantage or disadvantage if you want to use them for a story-based innovation, if you will. So we're going to go ahead and take 5. Go ahead and do what you got to do, and we're going to go ahead and hop into session 1 to finish out tonight.
Sounds good.
To those watching that are wondering, I was late because I was an idiot and double booked myself.
It's okay, it happens, man. My dumbass like overbooked like a week or two, yeah.
All right.
Alrighty. Hope you guys got your beer or whatever you're drinking, because that's what we're doing.
I do have a tasty beverage in front of me.
Perfect.
Drink no water.
I'm not old enough to drink alcohol, so you know.
You're in college, though. Fake it. Actually, I don't condone underage drinking. I'm not on my public channel. Don't drink.
If there's any evidence out there of me drinking while I'm not legally allowed to, I can't finish my degree.
Fair enough.
Oh, shit.
Then let the record share and be known.
I'm not drinking, so there you go.
You are not.
It is known.
And so it is known in the decrees of Eastport. We'll be everyone back. Let's do it. So the yawning portal, or the equivalent thereof in Eastport, three-tiered bar near the ports that is always thriving with activity for adventurers, sailors, merchants, pretty much anybody that wants to have a good time. This is known to be a gathering point of various individuals, including yourselves, whom you all find to be sitting at a table together through happenstance or casual drinking. But this bar is by no means safe from the rivalries of the all-seers and the silenced. And despite the joyous mood of the bar, there's an atmosphere of danger that lingers in the nighttime of what could happen. The five of you sit around a sturdy wooden table lit brightly by burning candles and ever-burning torches. The tables are littered with plates from your remnants of your food and drink. Half-finished tankards kind of litter the table as well. The sounds of gamblers yelling and drunken adventurers singing bawdy ballads nearly drown out the off-key strumming of a young bard 3 tables over. A waitress approaches you, and for those of you who frequent this bar a lot, you would recognize her as Bonnie, just your run-of-the-mill human. She's a barmaid. Well, boys, hope everything has been to your liking this evening.
As always, I find it impeccable.
Drake, you know how to sweet talk me?
Yes, Bonnie, I must ask, could you please go ask the chef if I could have this recipe for this braised roast beef? It's so fabulous. I can't get how he gets the flavor so full.
The chef of this fine establishment is a gnome known as Sweet Tooth. He's not he's known just for his meals don't have much of an appearance, but flavorful and filling are two words that are often described with it. Well, of course, dear. You know I will more than be happy to relay the message to Sweet Tooth. He loves to hear it, and I'll see what I can do about getting his recipe. You know, he's a little stingy about those things, those gnomes.
Gratefully so. This is great stuff. If he's ever looking for another extra hand in the kitchen, give him my name, please.
Well, absolutely. You know, I'd love to see you more around here, Tarragon. Your country charm seems rustic but fresh, if I do say so myself.
I'll take that as a compliment. He kind of smiles.
Finland, you're awfully... Oh, go ahead, Drake.
Believe me, this man can cook better than one might expect from him. I've had
I don't judge
his platters.
Well, I see. Well, then we'll see what we can do about that in the future. Finn, you're awfully quiet this evening. Still under investigation, from what I hear.
So Finn has been like mopping up this soup with bread, basically using the bread as kind of a spoon to just transfer as much to his mouth as he can. And it's probably this is his meal of the day. Like he's a little strapped for cash, so leading the seemingly extravagant lifestyle that he likes to try to portray, he has to basically suffer eating only once so that he can buy the finest food. And so he's been hungrily just devouring this. And
you got caught in like, you got caught when the waiter asks how your food is, like, wow, you have a mouthful of food then.
Exactly. And so he'll say, yes, this food is exquisite, but unfortunately, I am still under investigation. And then just continues.
Oh, dearie, finish what's in your mouth before you speak. And she's kind of like brushing some of the crumbs off the table.
And he'll just gulp it down and say, oh, sorry, Bonnie. It's quite delicious. And give her a wink and just go back to...
Anything else, Hugh?
Hugh's kind of leaned back in his chair, one arm slung over the back, kind of picking his teeth with a toothpick. And he looks up at Bonnie, you said her name was?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, at her, and points over to his flag and, hey there, darling. You can get me another one of them if you like.
Absolutely, I'll be right back. Rome, anything?
He would probably be like reading this piece scroll, and he would put it down for a second. He would be like, yeah, I don't want to be rude, but could I also have another fill? And he would push his mug forward.
And she would scoop both yours and Hugh's off the table, and anyone else who was asking for a refill, and she would head off. And as you kind of are drinking and chatting amongst yourselves. Drake, you stand up. Go ahead and give me an acrobatics check with disadvantage. Or actually, just dexterity save. No need to get fancy with it.
That's a nat 20.
So as you stand up in your drunken stupor, what would have been a collision with you and a seedier-looking thug with hands full of beer, you manage to avoid, and he kind of turns, and you see him now, and he's not robed. He's got like a leather, not necessarily doublet, kind of vest. He's got like a rough tunic underneath. He has a cloak. The most distinguishing feature he has is he's bald, and on his shaved head, he has a tattoo of a circle with 10 lines coming off the sides. You would recognize this as one of the All-Seers. And he kind of spits at you. Hey, mate, watch where you're going. Actually, on second thought, how about a game? How about a game of cups? Your crew versus mine. We'll even get a nice pot of change going for the winners. You in? You five?
I'm certainly in if the rest of them are in.
Hugh looks up straight at this guy and says, I got a better idea. How about you take fuck up and get back where you belong?
Oh, you hear this? This guy doesn't like a game of cups. And for the record, cups is just a drinking contest of whose crew can drink more. I didn't know your dignity was too fragile. What was your name?
Didn't say it, friend.
You wouldn't mind a game of cups.
I kind of roll my eyes and look over at Rome.
He'd probably look back and just shrug his shoulders, like, you know, debating is like, are we gonna do something, or are we just gonna let that guy, you know, like, talk shit or what?
Kind of like seeing the tension, you'd see Tarragon almost like nervously sit up from the chair a little too quick and like interpose himself in between, have his hands up. Guys, I'm not really sure what this game of cups you speak of is, but it sounds like a whole lot of fun. You see, I'm new from around here. I'm from a small village called Alabasta, a small fishing village, and he'll just kind of start hammering on about how he's an out-of-towner. But yeah. These guys are all new friends of mine, and I'm sure with a friendly game of this cups you speak of, we can all become friends probably, and we'll all laugh about this. No reason to get upset or anything. Right, guys?
He's never played cups. And with that, he would kind of like brush some of the plates, and some of them would clatter to the floor. And his couple of mates would get up. They're all kind of dressed similarly. None of them have the same tattoo. They all have like varying degrees of shaved heads or ponytails or rat tails or whatever. Very thug folk. They're dirty, tattered clothes, broken teeth. They stink. So the way that Cups works is there's two teams of 5. There's you 5 versus their 5, and it's the team that has the most wins out of 5. And to play, you square off against another person, and every round that you play, you roll con saves. You can roll con saves normally for as many rounds as you have a con mod. So if you have a +2, that's 2 rounds, and it's the first of 3 rounds that wins. First of 3 that wins. So if the rolls go well, you know, you may end up having your character barf all over the place before this game is over. So
Drank some pretty weird shit before. He's fine.
Yeah, that's the hope here, because rather than the classy or effective drinks you've been drinking, everyone is getting the same kind of sailor's grog that I believe Drake was drinking. These are frothy mugs that are kind of warm. I guess they're not glass mugs, they're probably tankards, but you know they're warm. It's not like this is a skunky beverage. This isn't the game is meant to test your fortitude here. So as the cups are slammed on the table, the grog overfilling and splashing onto the table, the first bandit steps up. He's a shaved head. One of his teeth is chipped like almost in half. He's got pockmarked face. You can tell he's lived on the dock his whole life. Who's going first?
I think Drake's gonna. Or Drake was the one that was challenged, so I guess he's gonna step up first.
All right.
Dragonborn. We'll see how good you're at stomaching your ale. So we're gonna go ahead and make contested con saves. You got a 9.
19.
So you tip yours back and with a solid motion and drink your ale quickly, faster than him, as he kind of coughs at the burning in the back of his throat. What is your con modifier?
It's a +2.
Perfect. So for this next round, you're also going to be rolling normally. That drink went down the wrong pipe. You can see he's kind of struggling a bit. So go ahead and give me another one.
Oh, that's not one.
Yeah, he got 2 13s, so I'm going to say that a nat 1 is 2 down on your end.
2 down?
Actually, no, I won't do that. That's a little rough. Yeah, fuck it. Started off strong. So you're down 2. You're looking green in your scales. There's a nice green to the blue.
I'm turning teal.
Yeah, exactly. There's a new type of dragon out. It's teal dragon. But he's not looking too fine either. So go ahead and give me one more. Actually, maybe not one more if you win. Which he got a nat 1, so you actually will win if you beat a nat 1.
Well, I got I'm assuming after second round I'm rolling with disadvantage.
Correct.
All right, cool. So that'd be a 12 total.
All right, so as you struggle to finish your glass, you put your cup down and you see him. He's looking rough. He dry heaves a couple times. And you see Bonnie kind of kick over a bucket and it smacks him in the foot, and he picks it up and you hear him hurl. You see the guy with the tattoo on his head. Oh, what the fuck?
Drake
who put Greg in first?
Drake raises his drink mug high above his
tankard.
Celebrate his tankard above his head in celebration.
There's like some comes out and like splooshes on your head as you stagger. So who's next? You guys have 1 victory.
I imagine I'd kind of be pushed to the front if nobody else is there. I'm gonna volunteer, and I imagine that I still have my wine, and I'm like, oh, this seems like quite an interesting game. I'll drink my beetroot touch, and then suddenly the grog is just like pushed into my hand, and I smell it, and just this does not smell too exquisite. Are you sure you don't have anything else? I'd look over to my opponent. Hi there. My name's Telegram Adante. Very nice to be facing off against you in my first game of cups. May the best man win.
And this guy's a shorter guy, not necessarily dwarf height, but kind of stock. He's a human dwarf, if you will. Not that's a bad description given. He's a short guy. He's a short, stocky guy. Bulbous face.
Suffering from dwarfism.
He's not a dwarf. He's got a bulbous face.
Like the conditioned dwarfism.
Yeah, he's got a. See, I was trying to avoid. He's got like a pimple on his nose. Yeah, I'll be a pleasure taking your V card in the cups.
I'm not
So
sure
go
what that
ahead.
means, but it sounds like a very nice gesture. Thank you.
Before he drinks that, like Rum would walk up to him and he'd be like, "Terragar, just make sure that when you go to drink it, you know pinch your nose so you don't smell it." And he'd be touching his bag, and it'd be me casting guidance on him.
I'd
Can
whisper
I
behind you,
get-
like, "Go ahead, sorry."
I need a sleight of hand check just to. Cheating is allowed in cups, but you gotta succeed on the stealth of it.
I'm pretty sure 18 is good, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I whisper behind as you're saying this, the crowd kind of getting in, cheering in anticipation, like, Rome, how am I going to taste all the flavor if I have my nose plugged?
You don't want to taste this shit, man. Just drink it.
Oh, very well then. Wish me luck. Hopefully I don't let you guys down. And I just roll a d20?
Yep. With it's con save.
Ooh, natural 19.
Yeah, he rolled a natural 9. So
21 for me.
it's an even match, but you slam your cup down first. That's 1 point for you.
Oh, this stuff tastes terrible. Wow, did I win?
Beginner's luck. Rack him up again.
Oh, that's a lot of alcohol at once, but if you say so.
Cups is the game, man. So his con's only 1, so he's rolling with disadvantage now.
I'm regular.
What is your con now?
+2.
Then yeah, you're good. He got a 7 total.
I got 13 + 2, 15.
So this one, same as the first. You see him kind of teetering. Oh, that's bullshit. Give me one more.
Oh, I'm feeling quite full, but if you insist, I think I'm doing well, aren't I, guys?
Fantastically.
I've rolled a 20 on my high die every time. He rolled a 4.
I shit you not, I rolled a natural 20. Apparently I'm a god at cups.
So your natural fortitude. This game has unfazed you. You're drunk, but you're not like. You see Drake, he's kind of stumbling around. You see this guy, he's like babbling, not necessarily babbling. He's fucked up.
I'm just confused. Like, did I win? Is this what I was supposed to do? This is terrible. Who would play this? And you see this
guy kind of like fall back in his seat, and everyone towards you as you've won your first round of cups. So that's 2 wins for you guys.
You're a natural Tarragon. Fantastic.
Hey! I cheer back in confusion, not fully understanding.
So who's up third?
Well, it's such a barbaric endeavor, but I suppose I shall beat him just the same.
And as the short, Lightfoot halfling sits down, actually he probably pulls up one of the higher bar stools.
Yeah, I'm like standing on the bar stool. I don't sit because I don't like to be like beneath anyone else. I only stand on.
And these tankards, they're not like too big for you to pick up, but this is definitely something like to maintain control of it as you pour it into your mouth. You have to two-hand it.
Yeah, I'll two-hand it. And I also think that when I'm drinking it, I want to make sure that a lot of it goes like
out of your mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, when
on me, basically.
As we do our con checks, I'm also going to have you make a performance check.
Okay.
Just to maintain the illusion that you're drinking this.
Yeah.
So go ahead and give me a con save.
So I have a 0 con mod, so it's at disadvantage from the get-go, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who's my opponent?
You see, I should have said that. This large orc.
Oh, perfect.
He sits down. He's at like one of the lowest sitting chairs, like maybe even like a stool itself, because he's kind of just a big ass dude. Sitting down, he's probably still taller than you standing on the stool.
Yes, this is probably an upgrade from the mud that you drink, but it is utterly disgusting. Well,
he kind of, and he slams his cup back. So give me a performance check as well.
okay, so on my con, I rolled a 4. And for performance, I rolled a 12.
So the crew is kind of, with it being so late in the game, they're less paying attention to the beer splashing out of the mouth and just the fact that you're slamming this tankard that's probably a third of your total mass.
Yeah.
And the orc wins as he rolls a 17.
At this point, I'll like, as I'm like dousing myself, and then I put it down, and I probably see the orc smiling his toothy grin. I'll be like, "All right, yeah," and like climb on the table, you know. Devil or nothing, small fry.
You hear that? Double or nothing. And whether you knew it or not, pots have been placed on this game, and it's already up to almost 100 gold. And with this double, it'll put it up to 150.
Sweet.
Is this a is this a private bet, or do you want to add it to like the pot?
I think I am more confident in the team's performance than I am my individual performance.
Okay,
So
fair.
I would like to save the pot.
And regardless of what's on your character sheet, you guys, through some end or another, have some extra spending cash that basically I'm going to give you for the purpose of making this bet.
Cool.
So go ahead and give me a con save. I hope you did better than a 3.
7.
So, do you want to do... Actually, I kind of regret how I did that. If you were going to let some of that splash out of your mouth, I wouldn't have let you roll at disadvantage.
No, it's fine. I'm doing it straight up for this one, and then for the last one, I'll try maybe some other trick.
Okay, so yeah, you see he kind of... he kind of shakes off a nasty burp that maybe wasn't all burp.
And I finished mine and gulping it down, still splashing a lot of it probably, and say, "That's right. Ha! I gotcha. Gotcha on your heels."
He looks up to his boss and then back down to you. We got one more game, little man.
Here, let me pour it for you. And I want to like I imagine like a fresh pitcher has just been introduced to the
You're gonna
table.
give him a magical roofie.
I want to, yeah, exactly. Maybe not. If you don't think I should have like some, no, I'm a rogue, dude. I definitely have some kind of.
Yeah, Finland's kind of creepy.
It's like castor oil or something like that, you know, to just make him like vomit instantly.
Eye drops.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm gonna need a sleight of hand.
Okay. 15.
So yeah. Grombo, this orc here, doesn't see you slip him something in his drink that's kind of untraceable in the frothy liquid that is the grog that you're drinking. I'm gonna, for the sake of mechanics, you're just gonna be rolling straight up, and he's gonna have disadvantage still.
Yes, thank you. Oh, okay. I rolled a nat 1, but I think I'm going to use my halfling luck.
You probably should. You probably should because he has a 7. You need to beat a 7.
Oh my gosh, I rolled a 3.
Oh no.
Maybe I like accidentally
you
saved
spiked
myself.
yourself. Okay, fair. So rather than, you're kind of looking at him as he looks at you, and you're expecting him to hurl, and he does it, and you're like, huh, maybe it's his orcish and the guy that was hurling before that Bonnie kicked a bucket to, he kind of like smacks you in the chest with this half full bucket of vomit as you lose your dinner as well.
Oh, such a waste of a good dinner.
But you are still in the lead. So who's gone so far? Drake, Tarragon, and Finland. So we need Hugh and Rome still, correct?
Yes.
Who wanted the guy with the tattoo on his head? Cocky guy.
I think I would point out Hughes, and I would be like, will you do the honors?
All right. And I'll stand up, pick up the mug.
So he looks to you. Well, actually, who wants to do? You want Hugh to do the tattoo guy? Then I'm gonna have someone else go first, so you get to play Rome. The fourth cultist sets up, and this is a half elf. You can see that he's on some sort of narcotic of some kind. He's got big bags under his eyes. He's kind of oily. He's sweaty, maybe even jaundicey looking. He's got like a thin mustache on his upper lip. His hair is combed over like what would appear to be like a balding spot. All right, it's my turn. Go ahead, Rome. Give me a con save.
I'm going first?
Yeah. Unless you want to fight the guy go with the guy with the tattoo.
No, that's fine. I'll go first. I got a 14.
You got an 18. So this guy pounds this beer back and slams his cup down on the table voraciously to kind of undermine you. That's all you got? Magic Man?
It's like, let's go again. Come on, I'm not scared of you. He'd probably look back at him. He'd be like holding his nose, like, man, this shit's fucking disgusting.
So go ahead and roll again.
Oh god, I got a 1.
So you drink, and you holding your nose, you're not getting like proper ventilation as this guy slams his cup back, and you like cough, and some of it hits like the back of your nose, and it's all you can do to grab the bucket away from Finland as you two lose your dinner. And that leaves the cultist and your switch hitter, Hugh. And this cultist, like I said, he's pockmarked face, kind of. He's got a beer belly. You can see that he's someone that is using his position and throwing his weight around a little bit too much. You've probably seen it in the bar a few times. He looks to you, Hugh.
Oh, yeah.
What about it, country boy? How about we sweeten the pot and double it? Winner take all.
I stand up and grab the mug. Just slide and say, all right, then, let's do this.
All right. You got an 11.
A 21 total.
Yeah, then you totally your chest opens as the warm grog fills your gullet, and you slam your cup way faster than he does. And he like looks confident, and he slams his cup down, and he sees you across the table, already finished.
Is there a second cup there?
There can be.
Yeah, while he's finishing his first, I'd like to try to finish a second.
All right, so I'm gonna roll his second with disadvantage because he's trying to keep up with you.
Okay. Should I roll at disadvantage also?
Your combat is +3, so you're good for all 3 rounds.
That's a plus. Yes.
So yeah, you're good for all 3 rounds.
Okay.
His is only +2, but I'm gonna give him disadvantage with this one. You took the initiative here. He got a 4. What'd you get?
Let's see here. That's a net 20.
So before he's even halfway through, you're slamming your second cup down and picking up your third. Give me one more.
That's a 16 total.
All right, he got a 13, so you'd beat him anyway. What do you got, Jose?
So as this guy is taking his last cup to like take a swing, and he's drinking it, Rum will cast Prestidigitation, so it looks like he's pissing his pants and smells like horse piss.
So as he's slamming his cup, you see him kind of look down at the same time that Hugh finishes his third glass. It looks like he's pissed himself. Oh, what the? You. Fuck all of you. You haven't heard the last of the All-Seers. This isn't over. He kind of like, fuck all you. Take the fucking money. And they get up, and from the side of the bar, you hear a half-orc that, for those of you that frequent the bar often, have come to know as Yagra. She's kind of just someone that frequents the tavern quite often. She's a mercenary, so Rome and Hugh might know her. She's always up for an arm wrestle, that's what you know. You hear her, lost your coin to some country folk and city boys, eh? And they're like, well, shut up. And the 4 or 5 of them walk over there and start giving this lady some shit. So what are the 5 of you doing now that you're thoroughly intoxicated and Bonnie's kind of cleaning up the spills that are around you?
Is the tattooed one trying to get in her face?
Yeah. Him and his boys are kind of sloppy, talking shit to this chick.
I have a feeling I know what you're doing, Hugh, and I think Drake's doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, I plant my left foot right behind his heel and grab onto his right shoulder and see if I can get his attention and maybe get him to swing on me.
So you actually don't see this like immediately offhand. You guys are kind of recouping. I will let you do that, but I have a little bit of description to describe what's going on beforehand, if that's all right.
Gotcha.
So as the 5 of you are kind of recouping yourselves, is there anything you're saying to us? You now have, I believe, 300 gold between the 5 of you that you didn't have 30 minutes ago.
Wow, guys, that was a lot of fun. Did I do well? I didn't vomit like most of you guys. Is that the object of the game? Was the vomit? I'm confused by this game.
You did great, man. Unlike some of us.
Oh, thank you. That's a lot of money.
Faster than your opponent, and you win the game.
What an interesting city concept you guys have. Although I do admit that this grog, although it tastes terrible, does seem to make me feel quite a bit different, quite a bit happy. Or the Joybringer, Liara, she must have something to do with this. Those guys were quite nice, eh? Offering to play a game with us, and then all that money. This is great.
It was more of a dick measuring contest that they lost.
Huh.
That's right. We've got the biggest.
It's hard to win a contest when you don't bring the comparison.
So as you guys are talking, and the noise of the crowd that's kind of dissipated is still shouting, you hear over it all, "You pig! You like making fun of my mates, does ya?" And then at this point, the 7.5-foot tall half-orc is hit by a wild swinging punch from the man whose shaved head is covered with eye tattoos. And the 4 other humans stand behind him ready to jump into the fray. But the half-orc takes it on the chin like a champ. You know, one of those punches where you punch and like the head doesn't even move and they're just still kind of looking at you like, you know you just fucked up, right? And the half-orc cracks her knuckles, roars, and spears this guy to the ground. But before you can see if blood is drawn, the crowd is kind of gathered around them. What do you want to do?
I have a feeling Drake would try to make his way to the front of that crowd.
For sure. I'm right there with him.
Is this another game, guys? And I'm following along.
Whoever wants to get involved, go ahead and give me initiative.
Yeah, Rome is gonna get on top of a table and try not like tall enough to see through this shit.
Have everyone give me initiative. Actually, yeah, give me initiative.
Maybe your Friday at least.
Jesus. So, Finland, you're the first to be able to kind of get a glimpse of what's going, and you see like a spurt of blood erupt from this pile. What would you like to do? You do not have eyes on this fight.
Can I see some of the other gang members?
Yeah.
Are they transfixed on the fight?
You can see that they're kind of like keeping the crowd back and letting the fight progress. They haven't hopped in.
Okay. I guess I want to... How far away am I from those guys? Will I have to like push my way through to get to them?
You know. You are a halfling, so you can occupy the same space as a larger creature. So you'd be able to get right up in there with full movement.
Yeah, well, I want to go up there and like pull down one of their pants.
Excellent. Go ahead and give me a sleight of hand check.
13.
Ooh, actually, give me 1 second, because I pulled up the wrong step. 13, I believe, does hit. Let me just confirm. 13 does hit. So you managed to successfully kind of like rip the top button and pull this dude's pants around his ankles.
If this is really a measuring contest, let's see what you got.
All right. Tarragon.
And I'm behind the crowd, or am I with the crowd?
I'll say that you're with the crowd. It'll take all your movement to get through it.
Okay.
Kind of like rough terrain.
Push my way through and say that everyone, if we're having a sparring contest, shouldn't it just be one-on-one? I don't think you need to gang up on that half-orc girl. and then I'll just basically, if I can, like interpose myself and ready a dodge action and try to like calm the fight down.
For the most part, you're kind of taking a similar stance as to what the other kind of bandits, if you will, are doing. They're all kind of just trying to keep this fight between their boss and this orc. Now that you're up there, you can kind of see that their boss isn't doing so hot.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought they were ganging up on her. Yeah, I'll just whatever. Then we'll sit back and see what happens. This seems like a fair fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the pants. I would run up behind and take a hard shot right at the base of his skull, if I can.
Are you just going to punch him?
Yes, I'm just punching him.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an attack roll. With advantage, because his pants are down. I feel like catching someone with their pants down gives you advantage in my home rules now.
That's the first number twice. Yeah, that's going to be 11.
So,
yeah.
11 does not hit. Actually, no. 11 does hit. No, I lied. 11 does not hit. AC 12. So you see, actually, you're kind of drunk. You did handle yourself beautifully in the Game of Cups. But you are only human, Hugh. And in like one of those drunken stupor fights, you go to punch this guy, and he like just at the same time goes down to bend over and pull up his pants. So you just kind of swing over him.
Oh, beautiful. I would kind of see Hugh over it with that shot. And if the dude bent over, I'd kind of see myself kind of over his back.
For sure, for sure. Anything else you'd like to do? That wrap you up.
Now my pride's decently wounded.
I'm gonna regather myself. That'll bring us to Drake.
Would Drake be able to get to the front of the crowd?
Yeah, I would say so.
All right, so he'd get to the front of the crowd and he'd snarl to the cult leader, "That's enough. You've embarrassed yourself already," with small sparks of lightning coming from his mouth.
You can see that he can't really hear you because despite as everyone's kind of getting into the fray, you see that it's coming to a close, really. You turn around and you see Rome hasn't even got the chance to move in as this orc is kind of pummeling this dude. His mouth is bleeding. And at this point, you see the three cultists or four cultists bandits that were kind of keeping people back. They're kind of trying to just pull their buddy out from under this chick. Not so much touching her as much as they are pulling him. And you hear her, "Oh, you bloody coward. Gang up and then get your ass beat." And Rome, it is your move, but the conflict is kind of...
Gotcha. Yeah, Ron would, because he had jumped on the table so you could see what's going on. He's gonna run in there and try to get, see what's going on. And he would cast sleep on the guy's trying to run away. He would be like, "Oh no, you ain't getting the hell out of here." So since they're bunched up together, I'm gonna try to put them all to sleep. Alright, I got a 25, so I can put up to 25 HP of mobs to sleep per turn. I was muted.
Sorry, I was muted. I was talking for a minute there. You managed to put the one that got his ass beat. He is completely out cold. The one that had his pants down, he kind of fell over on his face. And you see a third kind of falter for a moment, but he remains on his feet. And so with that, it brings us to the bottom of the order, which is the bandits, who have been thoroughly taken care of. And as he scoops up his boy, the crowd kind of shuffles apart, and you guys aren't really given the opportunity to stop them from leaving, as everyone is kind of trying to disengage this fray. You see the half-orc stand up, wiping a small smear of blood from her face. I certainly appreciate the help, but it wasn't needed. We are the Silenced, don't need help from anyone, to be honest. Those pieces of shit got what was coming. Good on you, though. I appreciate it.
And I'm sorry, what was this half-orc's name?
Her name is Yagra. Yagra.
Gotcha.
Well, if you are ever in a spot that you need help, don't hesitate to call. You know where to find me.
And Hugh is kind of standing up, dusting himself up, and looks over. Says, yeah, I'm nodding my head up at her.
Oh, Hugh, don't think I won't remember this, dear. And she winks at you.
Upon hearing that she's part of the, what is it, Silenced
Yes.
ones, yeah. I think I'll like gulp and then try to like disappear behind one of my companions or hide behind one of my companions.
You can give me a hide check if you would like.
Not so great. Oh, stealth check?
Yeah.
12.
Hide it. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. That's right.
So she's kind of still eyeing up Hugh, who is probably the second closest person in height to her here. And she nods and, good evening. I think I'll be going home now before anyone comes looking for me. And she kind of like rolls her eyes and heads for the door.
Hugh's grinning.
Hugh's blushing. So with this, you are kind of able to diffuse the situation, and people are kind of all going back to their tables. You see that your table has been respectively wiped clean by Bonnie, who has cleared the empty tankards of grog and wiped up the mess. There is a pitcher of water sitting there for the five of you. Bonnie, being the caretaker that she is, knows that you guys are probably some of her favorite patrons, most respectful, or more chattive than anything, and she likes that. She works with Durnan behind the bar, and you see like this gruff dude who's got a receding hairline, and his eyes aren't much farther open than your casual stoner. He's kind of just absentmindedly cleaning the bar as people order drinks, and he serves them. You know, Durnan was once an adventurer in his day, but has since retired for the life of the humble barkeep who just enjoys hearing people's tales as much as he loved living them back in his day. The big thing is, he's not a talker. Bonnie is a talker. So the five of you are able to sit back down at your table. And you're able to chat amongst yourselves for some time. You know how drunken people like to reenact the things that have happened in the night multiple times before maybe not reenact, recite the same thing that's happened that was hilarious over and over again. And it's about 30 or so minutes later that everyone give me a perception check, actually.
Would you like any of them to be at disadvantage since we're all kind of not?
I would, but Bonnie gave you some water, being the sweetheart that she is, and I'm going to say that we're going to forego the effects of severe alcohol poisoning this evening. Thanks to Bonnie.
Wow, we're good at this.
Yeah.
Experts, one might say.
You are, I mean, it's accurate. Though Bonnie has hooked you up, she can't unmake you drink all the grog, so you're only so perceptive. But Tarragon, your ears, though not used to the din of the bar, you're used to kind of like your predatory senses, you know, being aware of things around you to protect yourself. And you hear a buzz. And you don't ever hear this buzz in town. This is sturge buzz. Large bugs from the woods. This doesn't, you can't quite put your finger on it, but it sounds like sturges. And with it, you hold on. With that, you also hear a faint scratching. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would look to the table, and we're all kind of like big smiles on our face, recounting the stories. And just with a hiccup, guys, I'm not sure if I've maybe had a little bit too much to drink, but I swear I hear some kind of buzzing or something. It reminds me of sturges. Is that an effect of the alcohol around here?
Hugh kind of chuckles like, yeah, man, they don't call it a buzz for nothing.
Oh, I get it now. I always wondered why they called it a buzz. Okay, then. And I'll just go back to...
It's around this time you hear the first screeches of patrons of the bar noticing something climbing out of the well. Though the yawning portal is known for its adventurers that gather around and recite their stories, it's also known for the start of many. For beneath the yawning portal is an entrance to a dungeon, long since abandoned. Occasionally things crawl up from the dungeon. And the buzz becomes clear to you, Tarragon. Sturges fly from the hole. Oh, shit. 1 second. I think there's three that come from... I guess I can read the description here. Shouts of alarm suddenly ring out as a hulking creature climbs up from out of the shaft in the middle of the tap room. A monster with warty green skin, a tangled nest of wiry black hair, a long carrot-shaped nose, bloodshot eyes. As it bares its yellow teeth and howls, you see a half-dozen bat-like creatures are attached to its body, with 3 more circling above it like flies. Everyone in the tavern reacts in fear except for the barkeep Durnan, who shouts, "Troll!" And at this point, I'm going to have all of you roll for initiative one more time. Man, not so hot on this one.
Hey, we're drunk. It's fine.
No, I get it. And then we have Tarragon, who is simply thriving in what could be his...
Tarragon doesn't get drunk.
We need to get him more drunk all the time.
This is my natural state.
This is how I always am. That's my secret, fellas. I'm always drunk. didn't pre-roll my initiatives like I usually do. But we are good to go. Tarragon, you're kicking us off. So before you, just let me set the scene. Before you, in front of the hole leading to the dungeon, is this troll with 6 sturges suctioned to his body, fat with blood. You see him, he is kind of pale. His eyes are gone. You can tell these sturges have been on him for a minute, and there's 3 more flying about him. What would you like to do?
If it's okay with you, can we say that as the troll kind of climbs out with these big bulbous like sturges hanging from him, that he actually starts to like fall over, and one of the patrons, maybe like a drunk person, is kind of like fallen down in panic, and then Tarragon, seeing this person in danger, another side of him snaps to as he becomes focused and intent on helping this individual, and he yells out, "I'm not sure how strong the buzzes are around here, but this is getting ridiculous." And I'll pull out from my side on my utility belt, kind of fumbling around, not the chef knife, not the ladles, the mallet. No, I grab basically it's like a massive tuna knife. It's like literally like a 13-inch blade that would be used to slice up bigger fishes. Hopefully you're okay with that. I'm just going to reflavor a longsword. And basically, and then pull up, and I have on my back basically the wok or a frying pan that I kind of use as to cook most of my meals in, this cast iron wok. And I'll just like grab onto the handle as like a shield, and then kind of run up and just be like, "Get back, don't worry, I'll protect you." And then see that I'm standing in front of a troll. And the first time I imagine seeing a troll, bit nervous, but I will swing nonetheless. And there we go. Not so hot with that. A 9.
So as you swing, a little bit more lithe maybe than you anticipated for a troll. He's a little bit lighter on his feet, and he's able to kind of step back. You see like the sturges stuck to his chest kind of like come out and thump back to his torso as he moves evasively out of the way. And with this, the 3 sturges, actually, is there anything else you would like to do on your turn?
Yeah, I'll just basically look to like the patron on the ground and interpose myself in between it and the troll, and just, "Don't worry, run. I'll protect you."
You see, as you say this, the 3 sturges kind of circling the above, they are going to each come in for an attack on each of Tarragon, Hugh, and Romero. Actually, no, Drake. Being as you are the largest targets in the vicinity. And so Hugh, what's your armor class? Actually, what's everybody's armor class? I have this.
18.
18. So you are all, actually no. Tarragon, this sturge comes in hot, and you manage to raise your wok in time to kind of smash into it. But Hugh and Drake, you both feel the puncturing stinger on your bare flesh as you each take, I'll roll it for the sake of you guys. Hugh, you take 4 points of damage.
Ouch.
And Drake, you take 5 points of damage. As this large proboscis is stuck into your flesh and begins to extract your blood. And it is attached to you. On your turn, you'll have advantage against strikes against it, but on each of its following turns, it'll drain damage until detached. So, that brings us to Durnan. You see the old adventurer leap the bar, with him brandishing a badass sword that you've heard is magical, that he calls Grimvault. And as he hops the table, he's going to attack this troll 4 times. During this badass. As he makes contact with 3 strikes, you see this creature take a lot of damage. But you see Durnan turn around to whomever's closest. Quickly! The oil, the lanterns! We must douse it in fire to get back to the dungeon. Quickly! And that will bring us to Romero.
Oh yeah, Rome is gonna haul ass and grab one of those lanterns and give it to him.
He's not really in a position to take it from you. You could smash it on the troll with a dexterity-based attack.
Gotcha, I'll do that. Will you need me to roll?
Give me a dexterity-based attack. So d20 plus your dexterity modifier.
14.
So as you throw, this lantern explodes on the back of the troll, kind of leaving it in an oily shine. No proficiency. It doesn't matter. He hit it anyway. The troll kind of bleeding out, but you see its knotted flesh regenerating as the wounds stitch together and the blood kind of stops. It looks back at you, Rome, kind of hissing as it does. You see that the strike that Durnan had left across the chest had like cleaved through a couple of these sturges that were on its like torso. The couple of like one of them now has like a fucked up mandible or something, but it's still hooked on. But there's a couple of them that like it's just the sucker and it's kind of like squirting blood out of the head as it's unable to stop. But it's gonna look at you and then look down at its body and look back to Durnan. And it's gonna make 3 strikes on Durnan. And you see as its claws render into his flesh, as they're kind of neck and neck right now. Who heads? Finland. What do you do?
Is there a fireplace in this?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I'll just shout, "Get him to the fireplace!" And I will like do my best to try and run over to the fireplace and taunt him to try and get me.
So you're trying to provoke the troll to come at you?
Yeah, I want to try to provoke the troll to like chase me to the fireplace so I can like hopefully, like bullfighting style, jump out of the way and then he like crashes into it or something.
So I'm gonna let you do that as just like a provoke somehow. So give me a performance, and then I want an acrobatics to get out of the way.
Sweet. Okay, so for my performance and taunting, 8.
So
I maybe didn't taunt him. It doesn't really sound like I taunted him too well.
No, he's kind of caught up with the fact that there's this beefy dude with a badass broadsword cutting into his flesh. You actually see one of his arms kind of fall to the ground from his wounds, and it's still animated, kind of crawling towards Durnan. But yeah, I want to say you're unable to attract his attention.
Okay.
And then that brings us to Drake, I believe.
So, as the Sturge sticks into him, he's just scream out, "Ah, little bastard!" And he's gonna pull out one of his hand axes. He's gonna drag it in his teeth, cutting his tongue as he activates his Crimson Right, and sparks of electricity are arcing across the blade of it. And then he's gonna hit it.
So you will have advantage since it's attached to you.
And that's a crit.
So yeah, I'm gonna assume that you're gonna be rolling more. I guess I shouldn't assume. The way I do crits is full total. Yeah, you're gonna kill this guy. It's full total on it's full total plus a die roll. So if you're rolling
damage,
yeah. So the Sturge has 2 health.
so that's 22 damage into him.
As the electricity basically cooks the Sturge alive, it pops and the fluids evaporate from its body. That'll bring us to the top of the order with Tarragon.
All right, hearing Durnan yell out to light it on fire and send it down into the dungeon. If you're cool with it, what I would like to do is kind of run over to a table and basically dropping the tuna knife that I have, slide across the table and grab a bottle of alcohol. And then basically I'm going to position myself behind it, grabbing the wok in my readied hand and just say, "Troll, you are not a welcome patron here, and you do not bring joy to any of the folks that find themselves in this bar. Now be gone." And I'll start to pull the cooking or the alcohol into the wok, swirl it around, and then with a lantern kind of flambe it right in his face and try to light him on fire. I don't know if that's too much, but you tell me if it works. You're muted.
I'm going to treat this as a spell DC. Charisma plus proficiency plus 8.
That would be a total of 13.
Okay, so he's going to, I'm going to say this dexterity. Does that sound fair?
Yep.
All right, 2 on the die. He's not nimble as shit. He's got a +1, so he rolled a 2. So as the glistening lantern oil, or I think it was lantern oil on his back, he turns to see a wave of fire engulf him, and now there is a flaming troll kind of flailing in the center of the bar. But you see, actually, give me some damage. I'm going to say this is a D8 plus, we'll say charisma.
Okay, I like it. Let me find my D8s here. And then I won't miss the opportunity to say, "Anyone hungry for flambe troll?" And I rolled a 2 plus 3.
All right, well, he has 5 health left. So go ahead and describe to me as you finish this troll flambe style.
So yeah, I imagine he kind of turns around, hearing this annoying, almost kind of not necessarily wimpy, but not necessarily his fully masculine voice. And just woof, a big plume of fire erupts in his face, and he begins to just basically shriek out and try to put it out, but it's dry paper, his skin. It begins to light up profusely. Just a big kind of almost explosion. It squeals out, and then I imagine that Durnan just swift Sparta kicks him back down the well that he came. You just hear the fiery shrieks, and then just a poof of smoke comes out as he eventually hits after, I imagine, quite a long fall.
You see as he's table-topped over the side of this well, and there's the glow of the fire and the smoke coming from the well as it kind of dies down into a dim ember, or not ember, dim glow coming from the well until it's kind of gone. The problem of the 2 Sturges still remains, one attached to Hugh and one that was kind of right in your vicinity, Tarragon.
Yeah, I'll just look for my my blade that I dropped on the table on the way, and go over and help whoever has one stuck to them.
That will actually bring us to the Sturge's turn. So, Hugh, I need you. Actually, you lose some blood. That's what happens. Not bad. You lose 3 points of blood.
I didn't know we were playing Krakow.
Yeah. As the Sturge still circles around you, Tarragon, it's going to swoop in again for an 18, which I believe hits.
I will do it.
For 5 points of damage as its proboscis enters a fleshy spot exposed from the fighting and starts to drain your blood. It is now attached to you as well.
Ouch.
That brings us to...
Did we skip Hugh?
Did I skip Hugh?
Yeah.
Ah,
It's
damn it.
I believe so.
What was your initiative? 3? Oh, damn it. Hugh, go ahead.
It's all right. I've just been getting my soul sucked out. It's all good.
No, I didn't write down the names next to it for this one, so I thought 3 was Drake. I apologize.
No, you're good, man. Get this abomination stuck to me. Where on me is it stuck? Is it like on my
I'm gonna
back?
say
Is
it's
it in my
like
chest?
It's probably like your thigh, like an opening in your tunic, or like just where your pantaloons are.
All right. What I'd like to do is wedge my sword in between my leg and it, and make an attack, bringing out and through the thing, cutting his head off. Hopefully,
you have advantage on attacks against it. You're looking for a 14.
Well, it's a 17, so that'll hit.
That'll definitely do it. Any damage above a 2 will do it. So I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt here. And
yeah,
how do you kill it?
Yeah, the blade cuts through, and its head is still stuck in my thigh. My blood drips down from the severed head. As a bonus action, can I rip that out and throw it?
I'll give you that for sure. I'm gonna say strength check. You're looking for a DC 8.
That's 16.
So yeah, this thing kind of smushes in your hand. You're a country boy. You've done this before.
That's a hell of a skeeter.
There's a skeeter on your Peter. Whack it off. So that'll bring us to back to Romero. There is the Sturge attached to Tarragon.
Okay.
All remains of the, and I'm going to give anybody that's around it the advantage, just simply because it's not moving.
Yeah, I would look at Turgar and I would be like, "Do me a favor, buddy, don't move." And I'm gonna cast Frost of Ray of Frost on it.
Frost of Ray.
Ray of Frost. You know what I meant? Holy shit! I got a 24 total. I'm pretty sure that hits.
Yeah. So I'm not even gonna say that there's like a. Actually, I'm gonna let you describe it. How do you kill this?
You just see like him concentrate for a second, and you see the ray of frost just like hit him, and when they hit him, it automatically like freezes it, and Taragar will have this sort of like frozen thing right next to him.
And it falls to the ground and shatters. You are out of combat. You see Durnan using a different rag to wipe off his sword from the one that he usually cleans the bar with. But he gives you a reassuring nod. Good on you. Glad to see we still got adventurers in here that are willing to get involved when it's necessary. You followed directions to a T. I appreciate that. You're welcome back anytime. He kind of goes back to work.
Oh, sorry, sir. I'm not an adventurer. I'm a cook, actually, but thank you nonetheless.
Oh, give yourself some credit. I know an adventurer when I see one. And you, my friend, got the workings of an adventurer.
He just kind of stands there like, I don't know if I want to be that, but he doesn't say it out loud because Durnan is a badass.
And you are all allowed to sit back down once again at your table, for this has been an eventful night with a lot of you.
Drake is gonna use either a napkin there or a extra piece of cloth that he has on him to wipe his axe blade of his blood and then put it back where it belongs.
Yeah, I would be getting another drink after all that.
Yeah, I'd pick up the blade. I imagine it finds itself wedged in the table. Kind of just like sheath it onto my utility belt. Look at the wok and grab one of my chef's rags and kind of dry it out, wiping away the alcohol, and just look at everybody. This is quite a rowdy place. Do taverns always have monsters just come out of the middle of it?
Drake would laugh really loudly and he'd say, "This one does on occasion."
Bonnie would actually be in the area. Yeah, dearie. The fighting usually brings up the critters.
Well, it's good fun at least. I'm glad that nobody got hurt and that we were here to stop. Wow, did anyone see that blade that Durnan had? He's an impressive fellow.
Yeah, he ain't one to fuck with. I'll tell you what.
Definitely agreed. So, I know we're all kind of new friends here, but are you guys purchasing state rooms at this inn or somewhere else? I'm getting kind of hungry, and I wouldn't mind trying out a new recipe snack that I've been thinking of. Maybe we retreat back to our rooms eventually, and I'll whip up a little lemon and peanut jelly.
I've got a small space in town, but it's not much.
Before you get... Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Looking at his newly acquired pile of 60 gold, right? We split that 300 pot 5 ways.
That you did. To my knowledge,
Right.
anyway.
It's either we split it 5 ways or we give 100 to each of the winners.
Definitely splitting this 5 ways. If I have anything to say about it. Or we can squabble about it if you'd like.
I can haggle with the best of them.
I have no problem sharing. Tarragon would say we all won as a team. We all put in our best effort, and that's all that matters. We had fun, right?
5 ways is an equitable solution.
So that's 60 more gold we got.
Yep.
Whew.
That's just an added boon for winning like the mini game in the beginning. There would have potentially been consequences had you lost, but I don't want to throw consequences at you without the potential for you to come out on top. So extra 60 gold out the gate.
I think I'm going to call it a night soon. I'd like to get to the farmer's market nice and early and spend some of this money on some fresh produce.
If you're making a snack tonight, Tarragon, I'd love to try it. I will gladly split a room with you here as well.
Absolutely. That'd be great, Finland. Thank you.
Before you are able to get up, a figure kind of puffs over to you, and you see that this is a human. You can see that he's kind of like got wind-burned face. He's got a handlebar mustache. He approaches with a floppy hat and tightens his scarf. Volathop Gadame, chronicle, wizard, and celebrity at your service. I trust you noticed the violence in our fair cities this past 10 days? Couldn't help but notice you were capable fighters in your own right in the troll fights that took place here earlier today. I haven't really seen so much blood since I've last visited Baldur's Gate. But now I feel I've misplaced a friend amidst this odious malviolence.
Q would squint and kind of point at him. Aren't you that feller that wrote that? All the monsters.
Oh my, a fan indeed. You know my work.
I do. It was quite helpful in the planning in some extermination jobs.
Ah, yes. Volo's Guide to Monsters is exactly that. Able to aid people in their interactions with the less savory. I'm glad you were able to use it.
Well, sir, I would like to buy you a drink because that has saved my skin more than once. Honest, man.
Excellent. And he's already kind of been making himself at home, kind of like undoing his coat and sitting down with you five. Well, I know that you're meaning to leave, and that is very well and good. I don't intend to keep much of your time. See, I come to you in an hour of need. I don't expect you to do anything for me without payment, for you know I am rather well known with my book. Looking to Hugh. You see, my friend Floon Blagma, well, he's got a little bit more beauty than braids, I'm afraid. I worry he took a bad way home a couple of nights ago, and well, I believe he was kidnapped, or worse. If you agree to help me track him down with all due haste, I can offer you 10 dragons apiece now, and give you each 10 times upon that when you find Floon. May you prevail in my hour of need, friends.
You'll be here when we get back.
Absolutely.
Hi.
Go ahead. Sorry. Absolutely. If you're in trouble, my friend Volo or one of your buddies are, I would be more than happy. I always need to help those in need. My name's Tarragon. Pleasure to meet you. I haven't read your book, but I'm sure it's great.
Actually, so Rome, Finn, and Hugh. Hugh less so because you're kind of playing into it. You can see that if he's accepting a drink so readily, that he's maybe not in the best off financial position that he's coming across as. Though he does pull out 5 small pouches. Well, it's probably actually one rather small pouch with 50 gold pieces in it. Goes on the table. You see, I'm a little bit low on cash, or I'd be able to pay you a little bit more up front. But I rest assured, I intend to pay you every cent of what I've offered you so far. I'm currently working on my new book, Volo's Guide to Spirits and Spectres. And as it happens, I know a little bit less about spirits and a little bit more about spectrums, which has led to an off-balance in the book.
Interesting. You don't have to worry about pay. I'm sure we're all more than happy to help. I'd look at the party. What did you say your friend's name was again? And can you give us a description?
Why, yes, my friend, I would love to. Floon is a handsome...
Wait. I do believe pay is important, although maybe not necessary for you, my dear friend Tarragon. Finn will kind of like, chuckle away and flash a toothy grin.
You see kind of like a look of unease and then like a recomposure. Of course. I would never go back on my word. Like I said, 10 gold pieces apiece now, and 100 more upon completion.
He would kind of look bewildered at this and looks to the halfling. Are you calling into question the integrity of this fine fella amongst us, a bona fide author of monstrosities? Now, I am sure from the fast sales that he would surely be able to pay us.
No, quite the opposite. I think, in fact, I would prefer payment as maybe exclusive selling rights of your next book here in Eastport.
Well, I see you're quite a businessman, Mr. Floon. Oh, not Floon. I'm sorry. Mr. Finland. And I like that. I think you and I will have to have a private chat here coming up in the next couple of days. I like where you're going.
Oh, no, sir.
Thank you.
You misunderstand. This is a package deal here. There's no individual contracts, shall we say?
Oh, but I apologize. I had no means of interfering with your group's inner politics. And he kind of like steps back and bows his head a little bit. Of course, I would mean this for all of you. Kind of like looking a little uneasy again, but recomposing quickly.
Yes, all of us. My bad.
Yeah, Ron would look at him and he would be like, I don't want your gold. If you can spread the word of our names once we help you, that would be good.
Far and wide.
I could only but imagine that is the least I could do for some fine folks as yourselves. Now, Tarragon, if that I do believe is your name.
Yes, it is.
Floon is a handsome human male, early 30s, wavy red blonde hair. He's dressed in princely garb a couple nights ago when I last seen him. 2 nights to be specific, before he disappeared. He and I like to drink and merrymake around the Skewered Dragon. It's a dark and bawdy tavern in the Dark Ward, not too far from here. We would recommend you begin the search there. For you see, I'm embarrassed to admit that we may have gotten my friend into a little bit of trouble. I'm not sure exactly what unsavory folks may have gotten hold of him after I left him. I'm not really sure what happened to him after I left.
You don't have to be embarrassed, Mr. Volo. We're more than happy to give you a hand, and we will track down your friend Floon. This Skewered Dragon, you called it? I'm not familiar with the place, but we'll definitely start our investigation there. And with any luck, we'll find him in complete princely robes, like you said. No trouble done to him. I'm sure everything will be great. Like, these are a bunch of good guys that are here, and I'm sure that with them and me on the job, you'll be seeing Floon in no time soon.
And with this, he'll actually like joyously grab your hand. Why, thank you, Tarragon. You are an upstanding citizen, and I would love to work with you more.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Volo. Thank you.
And with that, the camera kind of pans back as the group shakes hands with Volo, receiving their gold. And you see like kind of the gore on the blood of the troll on the floor being swept up or mopped up by Bonnie and Sweet Tooth the cook. As it's gotten kind of late. It's been an eventful night. It's pushing 2-3 o'clock in the morning. You guys have effectively shut down the bar. And you are all able to take your separate ways. This is where we're going to end the session for tonight.
Outstanding. That was fun.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, man.
I had a little bit more prepped, but I have done so many voices. I'm trying to keep track of them all. So on top of that, I think this is just a good ending point before we get into like the actual investigation. Like I know I said it in the chat. I hope the beginning wasn't too slow for you guys. That was more for me, a little bit for you to just get to know each other, in hopes that this is a fluid campaign. We did not get into your NPC connections, which I have every intention of kind of using those at my discretion now, to fill places for people and kind of tailor the game to you guys, if you will. So yeah, you leave off with a quest to find Floon, Volo's friend Floon, who has been absconded with at some point in the last couple days. And that is where we'll pick up. Go ahead.
What is the name of that inn that he was sending us to look for Floon?
The Skewered Dragon. And I am going to be updating the D&D Beyond campaign page so that the public notes will have like a brief summary of each session.
Oh, cool.
On top of any kind of impertinent information that I can think of that would need to go in there. Just so we have a collective thing that we can go back to in case we need a recap of any kind.
For sure. Yeah, I'm just going down some notes of my own. So it's accurate.
There is a function on D&D Beyond that allows you to put notes directly on your character. Not that you need to or have to do that. Should you like to keep it all inclusive, it is on the description page at the bottom, I believe.
Yeah, I see it. The others. Okay.
Yep. Should you feel the inclination to toy with that. But we're going to go ahead and do our outros. And we're going to go ahead and start with Connor, since you have yet to do yours.
All right. Hi, as Baron said, my name is Connor. I run the channel Versatile Diecaster. We did a session with that 2 days ago, playtesting Draconica, a setting that I'm currently working on. Has a lot of new subclasses, races, and even a brand new class, an Elementalist, and just a lot of dragon-related stuff if you like that kind of thing.
And you'll be able to find the link to his channel in the description, as well as all these fine gentlemen. And Jason, I'll be getting Smith's Forge Gaming on there ASAP. I had the luxury of playing in that Draconica playtest. It brings some very neat concepts that I truly enjoyed and may even utilize in Uradiss in the coming future. I mentioned it in his video. Look out on the Absolute Tabletop group page on Facebook for interest posts regarding Draconica, because I have the intention to run something in the future. We're going to go ahead and do reverse order. So, Chris, please lead us out.
What's up, guys? Once again, I'm Chris with the channel The RPGinger, and I am playing Tarragon, and this was a really fun, enjoyable first session. I love everyone's characters. You did a great job with the DMing of it. It felt really good. The pacing wasn't bad at all. It was perfect, I think. Great first session. So thanks for running that.
Thank you. That is exactly what I would love to hear. And I have to say, Chris, as soon as I seen that you're like, I never get to play in games because I'm always running them, it's like, okay, so you have a seat. Absolutely. I'm happy to have you here.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm so excited to finally play in a Wizards module. Even though you're like tempering with it, that's even better, I think. So cool. Thanks, man.
And for the most part, the tempering is going to just be kind of filling in the blanks for or fit into my setting. I think that I'm going to go ahead and stick with most of the names just for fluidity's sake. So it's not like we have to cross-reference names the whole time. So I think that's what we're going to expect from here on out. But I appreciate that. Jason.
All right. Yeah, again, my name is Jason Smith. Baron said my channel's Smith Forge Gaming. There's just a few games on there. Come check it out if you like. Drop me a few comments. Yeah, this was the first time I've played with a couple of these guys. And Baron is always great to play with. DM under DM4. He's great, as are everybody here in AbTab. Looking forward to the next session. I appreciate you having me on, Baron.
Absolutely. Like you said, I know I've got to play under you, but this is my first opportunity to play, run a game for you. So likewise, happy to have you. And hopefully we can maintain the momentum. Jose.
Hey everybody, my name's Jose. I got the YouTube channel D20Jose. And yeah, man, I had a blast. I definitely I can't wait to see like the stuff you come up with. And I was digging the voices, everything. It was really fun. Like the whole beginning, like it didn't feel slow at all. Like I was surprised that the game, like ended because I felt like it was just going so well. So definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, likewise. You are definitely someone that I will always pick in a roundup because you are reliable. So always a pleasure. And certainly last and least, Phillip.
Yeah, thanks for running this, dude. I think we've got great group chemistry here. And yeah, it's been totally fun playing with all you guys and a pleasure with you as our GM. Thanks, Baron.
Absolutely. I believe we are working towards November 18th as our next session. I will confirm that with you guys here coming up. But until next time, we are out of here.